welcome Atlassian Customer CTO, Andrew Boyagi.
Picture this. Lap 47, rain starts to fall. Alex radios in. Do we pit now or do we wait? In that moment, the race isn't decided by a driver and a car. It's decided by how fast the team can analyze the data, how fast they can align on a way forward, how effectively they can communicate. One call, fractions of a second, win or lose. That's Formula One today, one of the most data-driven sports in the world. The lessons are the same for every business. Technology, teamwork, and decision-making speed are what separate winners from the rest. I'm Andrew Boyagi, Customer CTO at Atlassian. I've had the privilege of working closely with the Williams team as Atlassian signed on as technology partner and title partner of Atlassian Williams Racing. This is not just a sponsorship with a sticker on a car. This is a transformational partnership to bring Williams back to the front of the grid. Like many of you here in Barcelona and joining us remotely, Williams believes that teamwork and technology can be their advantage against the competition. And all of that starts with the system of work. It's a philosophy for how tech and business teams can best work together to unleash their full potential. And it's built on core teamwork principles and data-backed practices. We've come to understand that high-performing teams do four things really well. They align all work to the right goals. Because when teams have clear goals, they're able to focus on the right work and deliver the best outcome. They plan and track work together. When teams have visibility into others' work, they can reduce duplication and collaborate effectively to produce higher quality work. They harness collective knowledge. Teams who share information in a collaborative knowledge base save time searching for it. The information also becomes available for AI to index. And they welcome AI to the team. Teams who use AI to build on enterprise knowledge and automate the repetitive stuff get to better outcomes faster. When the system of work is put into practice using Atlassian's platform and connected portfolio, you can see all types of teams benefit by streamlining workflows with Jira, unleashing knowledge with Confluence, and much more. When teams adopt the system of work, they report a 40% increase in speed to value through faster project delivery. They see project success rates increase to 75%. And they experience a 46% increase in employee engagement. The system of work is driving some incredible transformations for our customers. Mercedes upgraded 50,000 users to the cloud. With the system of work, they've already increased team performance by 10 times. They've boosted collaboration amongst cross-functional teams and shifted 80% of their admin resources to service and innovation. By migrating to cloud and centralizing their toolset, Air France KLM Group freed up over 100,000 employee hours per year. They also reduced maintenance costs by over 500,000 euros. Now, as for Atlassian Williams Racing, we're only 6 months into our partnership and already we're seeing significant improvements. Let's hear from the team at Williams about why they started on this journey and how it's going so far.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I wanted to give a quick status update on where we're at in the season.
Atlassian Williams Racing is an incredibly special team. It's a true Formula One team, steeped in history with 16 world championships. That puts us as the second most successful team in Formula One.
F1 is as much about technology as it is about racing. It's a sport that brings together the human and the machine.
We've got approximately 1,200 people across hundreds of teams.
Based in multiple locations.
From designers to aerodynamicists to race engineers to strategists.
Hundreds of vendors, thousands of parts, hundreds and thousands of engineering decisions.
And it's a very, very competitive sport.
If we stand still, if we do not push the boundaries, we will go backwards.
We run a huge number of experiments. The old ways of working meant that we stored those in places that were difficult to read and difficult to find. We didn't generate value from that data over time.
Until now.
The way to move into the future is to apply technology not only on the car, but off the car as well. Atlassian enables us to do exactly that.
As we adopt the system of work, particularly Jira and Confluence, is we're moving to a world where all of that data is held in a single place. And we're able to look at where the bottlenecks are. Confluence and Rovo have been massive for us already. Fundamentally, it gives people a way of sharing knowledge. We can search it and we can find the information we need when we need it. We use Loom for a huge amount of product documentation. Because it's video, you're getting that user feedback much, much faster and much more effectively.
It's a real performance change for us. Being able to collaborate with purpose across the various platforms.
We use a few AI agents in our team now. The agents give us control of our knowledge base to make sure that we're giving users the right answer at the right time. There's a huge number of very complex, very expensive machines. Previously, this would be managed across a huge array of spreadsheets. We're starting to move a lot of our hardware assets into Jira Service Management. We can do a better job of managing our maintenance schedules, managing our manufacturers, and all the things we need to do to our hardware to make sure it is running as optimally as possible. Ultimately, that drives improved part lead time, that drives improved downtime. All of that ends up meaning we spend less money, we get parts to track faster, and we end up with a faster racing car.
Collaboration is absolutely key. When a team's operating in perfect harmony, it is the most glorious thing.
Atlassian understands how high-performance teams are actually working.
We are building that high-performance culture. That is an incredibly exciting journey to be part of.
With our system of work, we're driving innovation and collaborating more effectively. This really is the beginning of a massive shift, and we are literally just scratching the surface. Success in Formula One is impossible alone.
How good is that? I get goosebumps watching that. What a story already, and we're just getting started. Now let's go under the hood, or under the engine cover, to be more precise. When I first started working with Williams, I could see their challenges firsthand. Progress was slow, their old tooling and outdated ways of working were holding them back. Every team knew what the highest level goal was, which is to reduce lap time. But teams weren't working together towards that goal. They were sitting side by side, but not collaborating. And it's not because they didn't want to, they just didn't have the means to be able to do it. At that time, I was an outsider, and today we have an F1 insider. The star of the video we just saw, here to share what's really happening behind the scenes. Please welcome Richard Sauter, Head of Product Ownership at Atlassian Williams Racing.
Thanks, Andrew. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be here just a few months into our journey. It already feels very, very different from this time last year at Williams. And I'm really proud to be sharing the great work that's been happening across our teams at Atlassian and at Williams to make that happen. So before we get started, a little bit about me to give you some context. I've spent most of my career as an aerodynamicist, literally drawing the shapes you could see racing around most weekends if you're watching F1. But I gradually realized that I could have more impact working on tech than I could by working directly on the cars. So I shifted into product. And during that change, I realized that the only thing I really cared about was lap time. And as I mentioned in the video, we left far too much of that on the table. So when James Vowles, or JV, as he's referred to internally, joined us as our new team principal, he was pretty alarmed by some of our outdated practices. And he even spoke publicly about what surprised him. Those of you who follow F1 will have come across the infamous Excel interview, where he spoke about an Excel spreadsheet of 20,000 odd parts we used to design the car. I've seen it. It's a bit of a Williams heirloom. It lives on a file system somewhere. We don't use it anymore. But it was endemic. We had spreadsheets for everything by default. And work was being tracked in meetings and presentations, if at all. He recognized we needed to change our ways of working if we wanted to gain an edge on our competitors who were already using better tech. And all of the complexity in the way that we worked, on top of the demands of Formula One, was really holding us back from a better performance. We were at a turning point. We wanted to be better, JV wanted us to be better, but in F1, this isn't an easy fix. So most people, when they look at F1, they'll see two drivers, Alex and Carlos, and a pit crew, and that's about it. But the reality is way, way more complicated than that. Simply to get to the race, it takes not just the drivers and the pit crew that you see on telly, but also engineers, strategists, designers, mechanics, aerodynamicists. I could go on for hours. We cover everything at Grove, from artificial intelligence to clothing, software to manufacturing. We really are an end-to-end design, manufacturing, and racing company. And as you heard me mention in the video, we have a significant machine shop on site, an enormous composite facility, and enough 3D printers to make any hobbyists in the audience deeply jealous. And we need all of this to help develop, build, and maintain the over 20,000 individual components we need to go racing on race day. The front wing alone is made up of 400 parts, probably more when you include things like jigs, fixtures, tooling, transport equipment, and all the rest of it. With inputs coming from over 25 teams, each with bespoke processes they need to follow to ensure an optimal outcome. And when any one of those 25 teams are even slightly misaligned, issues, problems, and delays become inevitable. F1 also introduced a cost cap in 2021, limiting the amount of money that teams can invest in racing operations and building racing cars to create a more level playing field. You can't just brute force lap time with loads of cash anymore. So for any team to get to the front of the grid in the cost cap era, you need efficient teamwork now more than ever. So let's walk through some of the most impactful workflows we've introduced thus far. I'll start with a process dear to my heart, our technology prioritization process. Now, one thing has always remained clear to us. Our number one goal is to improve lap time. But to get the best out of the car, we have to test new ideas. Before Atlassian, or BA as we sometimes refer to it internally, prioritization was subjective. The flashiest or biggest or most popular ideas got all the attention, not necessarily the ones that would drive the highest impact. This, paired with an ever-growing list of priorities, was grounds for an enormously chaotic roadmap. Now, we use Jira Product Discovery to prioritize what to build next based on a number one goal. What is going to make our race car go faster? All ideas can be objectively prioritized, and the highest potential ideas rise to the top. And it's all done in public, so it's clear where the lap time gains are and where they are not. Here, you can see in Jira Product Discovery, we capture all of the ideas and prioritize them based on a formula that estimates the lap time gain for each of them. Then, we can simply plot out the impact versus effort of all of the ideas and aim to work in the top left of the matrix plot. This has reframed the prioritization discussion from what do we think is the highest priority project to which ideas are going to make us go faster. Let's take a look at one of the ideas on the board, Trackside weather integration. Now, this idea is to update our current weather system with real-time trackside sensors and AI-driven forecasting. And somewhat self-evidently, we expect that this improvement will have a direct impact on our lap time by improving race setup and strategy decisions. Is it raining in turn 1? Is it going to rain in turn 3 next lap? That detail is available to everyone on the team, so it's clear to employees and leadership alike what we've prioritized and why. Thanks to this process, we've cut in half the time we spend prepping for and attending prioritization meetings. Additionally, rather than debate a chaotic roadmap, we understand what we need to do to get faster as a team. Difficult conversations with the business where previously we had to say no have become easier because we now have the data to say no because. And this is helping us build transparency, alignment, and trust across our team. This is the system of work in practice. Our work is clearly aligned to a shared goal, and we understand how teams will plan and track work together. Now, let's look at how we conduct ongoing experiments as we design, test, and build our racing car. Those experiments ramp up in the lead up to a race when we're running many, many simulations across multiple experiment classes and multiple teams. In order to be efficient and ensure that we're making the best possible progress, we need to make sure that we're consistently mapping and tracking every aspect of our experimental state every time we use it. When simulations were being managed in silos, without the ability to cross-correlate findings, the knowledge we were uncovering with each experiment was also trapped in those silos. Without the ability to document and understand our findings, the simulation data did not have the value it otherwise would have had. Put simply, it was challenging to make the best use of our simulation tools, as engineers were missing vital context. Now, we've built a dedicated correlation and methods workflow to provide more visibility into our simulation estate. We have a Jira project which centralizes that work on simulations, and we document correlation data in Confluence. And this means that Rovo understands the current best practices coming out of our simulation subject matter experts. Let's take a look at how that process works by following a miscorrelation through the simulation development process. We start in our miscorrelations board, where we can see all of the simulation issues being worked on, along with their statuses and owners. Already, our teammates now have a real-time view of their simulation issues, but it gets cooler. Let's click on one of the issues. We can see more details on the correlation issue and a load of linked Confluence pages. Let's have a quick read and see what we can find out. So in this whiteboard, and in all of the linked Confluence resources, metadata about the correlation issue is being captured and discussed by our simulation subject matter experts. Rovo is automatically indexing this without our engineers having to do any extra steps. And as we are building up this knowledge base, our engineers are now able to ask Rovo more and more complex questions about our simulation estate and get that context they need to make better engineering decisions faster. Now, we can imagine we're a design engineer running a front wing simulation. Previously, we'd have had little context about the simulation estate, maybe an email somewhere detailing something being worked on, if we're lucky. Since the teams involved are now regularly sharing their testing data, it's easy to uncover issues and next steps, rather than searching for information across files and meetings. For example, let's see if there's any open miscorrelations. We type it into Rovo, and suddenly we have the context we need to make optimal engineering decisions. We're limited by regulation on how much CFD we can do, and this helps us to extract the most aerodynamic performance per run, directly making our racing car go faster. Now, team members can find relevant documentation with a few keystrokes from the rich knowledge base we've created, and decisions about what to test or simulate next are anchored in shared, searchable context. Before, this work wasn't effectively tracked, and now we're doing so in a central, accessible place, so we have real-time visibility into this enormously complex workflow in Jira. We're creating an extensive knowledge base which Rovo can access, and we're already seeing engineers choosing to collaborate by sharing their knowledge in Confluence, as it will help their team members later on. Systematic metadata and shared context are helping us to get the best from our tools. This improves our development rate and ultimately our on-track performance. This is a great example of how Williams is unleashing collective knowledge and welcoming AI to the team by giving it the information it needs to deliver useful answers. Now, let's talk about maintenance. It's not very glamorous for some, it might be a bit dull, but for us, it's a vital component of our performance. Remember a minute ago when we talked about the importance of sharing information to make sure that we're all learning from each other, fixing mistakes, and maintaining optimal performance? That's not just important in simulation, it's also important for our hardware, of which we have a vast amount. At our factory in Grove, we have thousands of machines, almost all bespoke, esoteric, and mission-critical. For us, optimal maintenance of those machines is a vital component of our performance. We used to have various ways of managing maintenance, from third-party providers to scattered spreadsheets, and this meant that resolving a machine issue often involved trawling file systems for records, or more usually, just finding the one person you happen to know. And since F1 realistically has only one period of scheduled downtime a year, the summer shutdown, maintenance quickly became a Herculean task. So to resolve this, what we've done is we've put all 1,734 of those assets into, the clue is in the name, assets. We now have a detailed system of record for our machine estate. Who made it? Who serviced it? When? Why? This data is interrogable with Rovo, JQL, or analytics. And we're in the process of stickering our machines with QR codes, so you can raise an incident simply by pointing your phone at it. And with Jira Service Management, we now have a unified view of service tickets for every asset, which helps us make better decisions about how to maintain our machines. Let's have a look at what that looks like. So here's an incident that's been filed from one of our machines. There's an overheating spindle on CNC milling machine 23 that will need to be serviced. Our technician is responding to Annie, who filed the ticket, to let her know that help is on the way. And when I click into the asset, I can see incident details or ongoing repair tickets associated with that machine. And when I go a step further, I can see all incidents across all assets, categories, and teams. Now I'm an F1 nerd, so I could spend ages fiddling about in here to see what I could find. But the real value is coming from the long-term analytics the Atlassian platform is aggregating. The insights from our service reports are making it possible to plan for maintenance of our machines in a way that simply was not possible before. This process has been helping our facilities teams to move faster. With Jira Service Management, we were able to roll out the facilities asset tracking system in just 4 weeks, 18 times faster than we were quoted to implement a comparable solution with a legacy vendor. And that's not the only way we're speeding up our timelines. With this workflow in place, we expect our production timelines to accelerate because we'll see less asset downtime, less time spent diagnosing issues, and less time completing repairs. This is yet another example of the system of work in practice, planning and tracking work together and harnessing collective knowledge to optimize our service process. It's all part of our journey to make Williams the most efficient manufacturer in F1. Now, let's talk about technical training. I've said it before, I'll say it again. F1 is complex, and that means it's challenging to get our staff up to speed on new tech or new processes. We needed a way to make sure our staff could quickly and thoroughly understand the complex processes and systems required to build a Formula One car. And it's hard to scale this knowledge, especially when our technology is regularly evolving. Previously, knowledge was mostly held in documents, presentations floating around the organization, or live meetings. And team members found it difficult to learn new processes or access the most current instructions, particularly if they work nights or weekends. Now, we're using Loom to document this information and Rovo to make it easy to find. This makes knowledge searchable, and it helps team members consume it in a format that makes the most sense to them. So let's take a look at how that works. We'll start in Rovo Chat. Let's search for info on the front wing component release process. Rovo Chat populates the answer with a pre-recorded Loom from our subject matter expert. And this video was easily recorded by our expert and widely accessible. We recently launched an overhaul of our product lifecycle management system, which handles all of our design data. It is the corest of core platforms at any F1 team. And that overhaul was documented entirely in Loom. We've also been able to harness knowledge across Williams to build tailored Rovo agents. Here's one, the wind tunnel pressure tappings agent. I actually built this one myself. It's built for teammates to ask a very specific question about a very complicated system we use to run in the wind tunnel. By handling the knowledge base which underpins it, we're able to use this agent to give our teams trusted, reliable answers based on curated sources of knowledge. With all of these changes, Williams is becoming a more collaborative and more self-service organization. Our team has seen an 86% increase in Rovo searches from active users. And we're also seeing new teammates get onboarded and trained up much faster. Experts are benefiting as they can scale their knowledge and reduce the questions which break their flow. And Rovo adoption is happening and has happened in a large part because teams are developing the habit of asking AI first, which also happens to be one of the AI-focused practices of the system of work. Now, we've spoken a lot about using the system of work in our factory, but let's be honest, you only really care about the racing cars, which is fair. That's all we really care about as well. So it's race day. How's the system of work helping us there? Now, if you listen to any F1 technical interview, somebody will say data, and generally data means data centers. For various technical and regulatory reasons, we run one Trackside. Unfortunately, when you arrive for a race, you're not greeted with a data center, you're greeted with that, unwelcoming, empty concrete box. Every race, we have to assemble the garage from scratch. Our teams literally paint the floor as one of the first steps. And depending upon which of the 24 circuits across 5 continents we're at during the season, it could be cold, raining, hot, humid as hell. You could be freezing or sweating buckets. It's often pretty grim. We assemble the garage, we build the workbenches, plug in the televisions, get the Wi-Fi working, put up about 1 million Atlassian branded advertising hoardings, audio gear, fridges, bring in all the fragile and expensive metrology machines. And finally, we literally build a data center in a dusty environment. Hilariously, even the dust is working against you. It's often carbon fiber dust from the brakes. It's electrically conductive. That goes into one of the blades. Bang. It's a bit of a scene. If there's no Wi-Fi, there's no race. No screens, no race. No data, no race. So our IT setup has got to be right first time, every time. But don't worry, because while you're setting this whole thing up, and it's hot, cold, raining, or whatever, and it took an extra hour to get the freight system through customs, because they always like looking in the F1 boxes, there's a physical countdown clock ticking away, reminding you how little time you have to complete all of this. Oh, and the later parts of this, as you approach FP1 and you're getting towards crunch time, those are broadcast on live TV. So even the slightest failure here is amplified. Feeling stressed yet? How did we handle this before? We relied on manual checklists and ad hoc note-taking for the entire pre-race IT setup and IT checks. And as you can imagine, this was hard work. And frankly, it was held together by the love, care, and commitment of the teams who did it. This approach was incredibly manual, and there were communication gaps, inefficiencies, and missed opportunities. But most importantly, we struggled to find the time to do the most important thing: get better at it. Now, we use Jira and Rovo to streamline and automate every detail of this process. Let's see how this works. Jobs for each team member are populated in Jira boards, organized by category and assignee. A simple Kanban workflow moves tasks across the board as they are completed. Here, we've clicked into a task to add an instant report to this camera testing task. It's related to weather impacts. The cameras don't like the wet. And everyone working on this task can now keep track in one place. We have integrated incident logging, meaning incidents can be created directly from the checklist, streamlining problem reporting and resolution. If leaders need to see how we're progressing, out of the box, we've got real-time dashboards to see how we're tracking. 58 done, 23 to go. Now let's head back to the main board view. Here, we'll use Rovo to generate end-of-day summaries and issue lists for future races. And all of this means that when the race is over and things are calmer, we can have the data we need to understand what we need to change to do a better job next time. By modernizing our trackside operations, we're more efficient because we have automated and structured workflows which save time and reduce manual effort. We've improved the quality of our work too. Issue data helps us to be more data-driven and strategic about deciding what we're going to fix. There's also more visibility and accountability for tasks during and after a race. Another great example of how planning and tracking work together and harnessing knowledge can improve work quality. Plus, with AI, we can summarize race day processes much faster. Now, once race day wraps up and we're recovering from the excitement of seeing our work come to life on track, it's time to process what happened. For a little bit of context on how that works, let's do a quick poll. By a show of hands in the room here, how many of you run a test, stick it in sandpit, release a beta before you ship a new product? See, for us, that doesn't really work, because in F1, the race weekend is the beta test. Race day or race weekend is the first time we're able to test our product to see if it works the way we painstakingly built it to in the real world. And in F1, we're pushing these cars to the limit of what they can achieve and what we can achieve with our physics and engineering. And so small errors can have a massive impact. Race weekend is where we capture all of our biggest learnings based on our grand, highly visible, highly scrutinized beta test. We capture all of the accomplishments, surprises, and sometimes failures on live TV for over 60 million people to watch, and we bring that data back into our development process. So remember the simulations we were running in preparation for the race. Let's say that based on simulation, we're expecting a new front wing to improve our aerodynamics by 2 points. But the actual improvement on race day was only half a point. Or we saw improvement across all of our key metrics, but no reduction in lap time. This is going to kick off a root cause analysis so we can understand the issue and start iterating again. So now we've got Confluence to help with automated reporting from our new processes, like simulation development and Trackside IT, and transparent idea intake with Jira Product Discovery. And this is facilitating the rapid feedback cycles that we need to help us prepare for the next race fast. We're taking ideas that come from the track and bringing them back into our workflows. Here, in Confluence, we've documented all the data coming out of the race. Back in our whiteboard, we're adding the front wing results from a recent Grand Prix. And it looks like our simulations is off due to the road conditions. Tarmac roughness has a huge effect on the aerodynamics of a Formula One car. So here, we can capture those results and feed them back into Confluence, which updates the shared context our design engineers are using to determine which simulation to study next. Or let's say we have a structural problem with how we're simulating tires. Maybe in order to solve it, we need to build some new technology to improve that simulation performance. We'll add that suggestion into our prioritization workflow and assess its potential impact. So today, the team is now capturing data effectively, getting value from the insights and patterns we weren't able to previously holistically track. And longer term, we're focused on automating how we collect post-race data to drive a culture of continuous improvement. One where the whole team relies on the system of work across every team and top to bottom with leadership. There's already such a palpable shift taking place across Williams, and we're only 6 months into the transformation, and we're seeing impact in 3 key ways. The first is time savings. We're speeding up those inefficient workflows we talked about at the beginning. By automating manual tasks and shifting meetings and trainings async, we're saving the team valuable hours of time every week. And this frees them up to focus on the next experiment, the next bit of technology, the next thing that's going to make us go faster. Having more time is making it easier for our teams to collaborate. The workflows we've introduced make it clear how teams can most effectively work together. And beyond that, we're already seeing new collaborative behaviors of capturing knowledge emerge across the team. And this is all because our team members finally have the tools to collaborate effectively. And lastly, with our team's data all readily available and searchable by Rovo, we're boosting visibility across teams tremendously. And with processes like our prioritization, we've now got visibility into how we choose what to build next. And this is giving everyone a crystal clear understanding of how we'll deliver on our top goal, reducing lap time and winning races. The momentum is there, as we saw with the podium in Baku. And this partnership is just getting started. We're just rounding turn 1, and I'm excited to see how the rest of the race progresses. So with that, let's welcome Andrew back to the stage.
That was brilliant, Richard. Thank you. That was a super insightful view into just how complex the F1 world is. And it's awesome to see how Atlassian has been able to help the team start to improve their day-to-day work. All of this is possible because of the system of works principles being applied. Hope you all enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at how Atlassian Williams Racing is transforming their team. Connect with us to learn more about how the system of work could help transform your organization too. And learn more about the system of work principles in practice at our website. Thanks, Richard, for joining us today. And for everyone here in Barcelona and with us online, we appreciate your time and thanks for joining.
Cool. Thank you, everyone.